Hey, doers and bundle of awesomeness. Welcome to the Cynspiration podcast. Today, I'm super excited. I'm like a 5-year-old girl because I have an amazing guest. And I'm so glad that he took some time of his crazy busy schedule to sit down and have a chat with me. So, Dan Holloway, our guest today. Welcome to the call, love. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very good, Curls. All the better for seeing you, you bundle of energy.
Yes. So let me tell you why I'm so excited to have Dan on the show. Um, I have seen that rocket, because this is what he is, started, he started his business, had some success. He was quite good. And then suddenly something shifted and he just shoot through the stars and has built an incredible business. And you're having quite a lot of success now. But more than that, you are using all the tools, all the resources, all the everything you've learned, and you're giving back to others. This is what I absolutely love about you. That big, massive heart and the innate teacher and mentor that you are. So, without further ado, tell us a little bit about why you went into entrepreneurship and why is it such a good fit for you?
Mm. Thank you for having me, first of all. I really appreciate the opportunity to share and talk to you about this because, as you know, Curls, this is this is something that I'm really quite passionate about, digging into the mechanics of success, and that's defined as whatever success looks like for each individual person. So I really appreciate that. Name's Dan Holloway, and for me, getting involved in entrepreneurship is kind of something that I've wanted to do for my entire life, but it took a very long time to actually take the leap. And there was a lot of challenges that I had in earlier life. So, financial challenges, for example, completely self-inflicted. And that's one of the things that formed that, really strong foundation for me to then create career success in software sales. And I went down that path, and as I was, working my way up the ranks, and I got to the top two internationally of the sales floor of this software company, and I was looking at, some of the other bigger jobs in London companies like Salesforce and Eloqua and Cisco and Oracle, and these kind of companies, and I kind of had this sense, something deep down, that just going for another role for even more money, just doing more of the same stuff, 70-hour work weeks. I was doing it for the money, but I just had this sense that there was something missing. Like I didn't want to do more of the same stuff, and I was feeling quite hollow and empty. And I had this realization that every income goal that I'd ever set myself in the past, as soon as I would hit it, I'd very quickly, it would become the norm, and then I'd go for the next income goal, and it had never brought me any real fulfillment. And yet again, I was kidding myself that even more income was going to be the solution, and that would just make my problems go away. And when I realized this, I realized that I got to go down the path that I've always wanted to go down, because all that's going to happen is I will reach a point where I just tell me, I'm saying to myself, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I just take the leap? I knew that was going to happen if I stayed on the path I was on, and I didn't want to live with regret. So that was September 2016. Entrepreneurship for me, like, the reason I think that it's just such a big part of who I am, is that my number one value, as I've discovered more recently on my journey, is leadership. And I love so much of what entrepreneurship is about. I love the whole thing of like learning, figuring stuff out, resourcefulness. Obviously, leadership is a centerpiece of entrepreneurship. I love the challenge. It's still terrifying, but I thrive in that environment, and that's always a story that I've told myself, that I do thrive in that environment. And it's just kind of like the excitement and the thrill and the challenge and all of these things combined just make it the path that is right for me. I always like to be challenged, and I always like to, I use the word like, but I thrive when my comfort zones are pushed. and I've learned to like it, but that wasn't always the case. And we'll probably go more into that during this call, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of context of why and where I came from as well.
This is enough. Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Like, I'm listening to you and I'm like, value number one, leadership. Yes,
Mm.
yes. I've constantly seen you taking the lead, stepping into the shoes, even if they were slightly bigger, but you would step into
A
them
lot bigger.
a lot bigger until, your toes were a bit longer and you could fit in those shoes. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's so freaking amazing. So um, there's one thing that I will just make a quick apartheid, but there's one thing that I use nearly daily that
Mm.
I learned from Dan. Then I heard from Dan at a seminar one day. He was on the stage and he was like, "What would you do if you were 10 times bolder?" And boy, Dan, you have no idea. I use that all the time. Every time my knees start shaking, I'm like, what would I do if I was curls 10 times bolder? And
I
that
love that.
so many times. It's very similar to the 5-second rules of Mel Robbins.
Mm.
Just finding that courage, doing it, not thinking about it, and already stepping into your future shoes, huh? The future self.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my little apartheid, really. Did you have to give up a lot to get where you are today? Do you feel you had to?
Did I have to give up a lot to get to where I am today? Yes. And I think that the biggest things that I had to give up were areas of my self that I was holding onto. So my journey certainly in the first 6 to 12 months, say 12 months, incredible transformation. And I think one of the biggest things that served me during that period was being willing to be wrong, being willing to fail, being willing to face the parts of myself that were terrifying and that I didn't want to face. Being willing to be coachable, to put myself in environments with other people who had already walked the path, and just show up with humility, and not come in with this kind of like this ego and this bravado. And that was something that, coming from a sales background, it was something that I'd been conscious of, especially in my younger years, of showing up with more humility. I did have a big ego when I was younger, and so it's like it's easy to slip into that character if you're not aware. So yeah, just being the student, showing up as a student, but then also being in this space where you're experiencing everything that's happening as part of this journey. And yes, it's terrifying. Yes, it's going to test you. Yes, it's going to challenge you, but always being willing to step into a role that you don't quite feel that you're big enough for yet. So the parts of myself that I really think I had to give up were, I suppose, like just subscribing to the past stories that had kept me where I was. I had to let go of that. I had to decide, like, if I want to achieve a certain result in business and in life, I'm not going to do it as the person that I have been, because otherwise I'd already be doing it. Right.
Yeah.
And so if that was the case, I had to grow into a better version of myself. And therefore, I would have to give up all of the stories that I was telling myself about why I wasn't ready, or why I couldn't do it, or why I wasn't worthy, or why I, couldn't find the money, or whatever. All of that had to go. And that's really scary to go through that eye of the needle. But just doing that again and again and again, that's really one of the secrets to growth. It's just being willing to almost give up yourself and step into a new version of yourself.
I love this. Is such a great response. I hope you're hearing it, guys out there. He didn't say, I gave up my friends, I gave up my finances, I gave up my freedom and my time. He said, I gave up the toxic parts of myself.
Mm.
I allowed myself to grow. And this is so important for you to really let this sink. Thank you for this. Thank you for this, Dan, because I think a lot of people need to hear that.
Mm.
So I already have an idea of what this is, but I'd like you to share what you think your unique skill or skills, um, what it is. What is your unique skill, and how did it help you to become successful so
Mm,
quickly? Because you had a really fast trajectory. The moment you started, and the moment you started to have financial success and growth, it I mean, you're not human. Like, something that's not human there. I don't want to take this out. I don't want to take this out of you, because it's because you were willing to put 300% of you out there. But what is that skill, that superpower?
mm, okay. Um, I think it's a combination of a few things. So one of the things that I've developed as part of this journey is just real self-awareness. So again, same sort of thing, willing to be wrong, willing to shine the light on myself and look at myself and look at, well, what's happening there and how can I improve? And obviously that requires taking ego out of the equation, because as long as we're operating from ego, then it's a lot harder to be self-critical or self-aware. So I would almost I do this thing where I can look at myself and my results and my situation objectively, and do it without attaching much meaning to it. So for example, in business, if I fail, what does that mean? And it's very easy to create all these stories about what it could mean to fail, and that's going to obviously breed a lot of fear into our situation, and it's going to paralyze us and stop us taking action. But if we have the self-awareness to actually look at, well, where's that coming from? What story from our past is triggering this fear? And is that actually the truth, or is that something that we're creating in the moment? And if that's something that we're creating in the moment, which it always is, it's always a story, right? Then we can shine the light on ourselves, and through awareness, we can recognize that it's happening and it's no longer going to necessarily paralyze us. Now, the next thing is overcoming the fear. And this, for me, like overcoming fear is, what would you do if you're 10 times bolder, particularly in the first 12 months? You're overcoming fear every single day, or you should be. And if you're not overcoming fear every single day, you're not growing. You're not in your comfort zone. You're playing it safe. And lately, I feel this is something I really need to refocus on again, because I've got to a certain point, and now it's easy to kind of be like, yeah, everything's going great, business is going well, the team's working, everything's working, and you can kind of just slip into what you're now comfortable doing, and I need to keep pushing myself to the next level. And you can actually, again, this is another skill, you can look at all the situations that you have in your life as the reasons why you can't, or the reasons why you must. So I'll give you some perspective. Take the financial side of things. When I first started, I raised capital that I didn't have to put into my business. I found the money. It was, I'm doing this. I don't care what it takes. I'm going for this. I will find the money. Because if I keep going no matter what, and I never quit, I will either succeed or I will die trying. One of those two things will happen. And then if I die trying, I'm not going to care. My last thought isn't going to be, oh, I wish I didn't have that money on my credit card. It's not what's going to go through my mind. It won't matter. So therefore, the only thing that matters is, well, when I succeed, if I never quit, when I succeed, will it matter what I had to do to get there? So with that perspective, I could look at this and go, right, well, if investing this money in this business, or this money in this education, or this money in this mentor, or this money in whatever, if that's going to move me further forwards, then it's going to be worth doing, because it will move me closer to my goals. And so being able to be in that space where, you can overcome fear, you can push through these challenges, and you can really, grow every single day. It's so important to be doing that. As I say, if we're not in or pushing ourselves into uncomfortable situations, then we're not growing.
Mm. This is amazing. The you know what? There's a question that was popping in my head when you were explaining all of this.
Mm,
How do you do it? I understand that you look at things, but do you write them down? Do you use a specific tool, on your computer? Do you mastermind with others? Do you have a mentor? How do you get all of this? Because it can be very unclear when it's all in your mind.
Yeah.
How do you actually manage to separate everything, find the priorities, and then link them all together practically?
Mm. Okay. So the answer that I could give to this now, because I've just come off of Landmark Forum. If you haven't heard of Landmark Forum,
Oh, I have done
I know you have, girls, but yeah, that.
it.
So my answer to this is now going to be very different because I can explain it from a perspective that I didn't have when I was first starting. So when we're starting out, we have to have a very clear vision of why we're doing what we're doing. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to know your life's purpose. And if you don't know your life's purpose, then you can't start. That not necessarily that deep, but you've just got to have a reason that is bigger than you. You know, something that's going to drive you when you want to give up and the feelings in your body are like, oh, I can't be bothered. I'm really tired this evening. But there's something that's calling you that's going to pull you forward, pull you into that future. So you've got to have that vision first of all. Now, once you've got that and you're starting to build your goals and your daily method of operation to get you there, you've got to focus on, well, what's actually going to move me closest to that? And so a question that I would ask myself all the time, and I've done this for 3 years now, is what's the highest impact task that I can do today that will move me closest to my goals? The one thing that's going to move me closest to my goals. And almost every time that is going to be the thing that scares the crap out of us the most, right? This is why overcoming fear is so important, because if you want to experience this growth and move towards this vision that you're holding, like in your mind, you've got to be in this space where you're able to overcome fear. So from a productivity point of view, what I would essentially do is I'd look at, if the highest impact thing that is going to move me closer to my goals, if that's the thing that I need to focus on, how do I need to structure my day in a way that is going to enable me to put intentional focus on that one thing? Because massive mistake that I see entrepreneurs make, particularly like startup entrepreneurs, first 6 months, 12 months, that kind of period, is lack of focus. And what we'll do, and by lack of focus, I don't mean not doing stuff, I mean being very busy, but not focused on the right stuff, right? So if you work out, well, what's the one thing that I can do? Our brain is going to go, yeah, but we've got all this other thing. We've got this to-do list. We've got all this stuff to do. And we should do that and do that and do that. And we can't really do that really scary thing yet. I could probably do this other thing instead because that's also going to help a little bit. So let's just do that instead. And it's having the discipline to go, no, whoosh, none of that matters. I'm going to block out in my diary today a 2-hour slot or a 3-hour slot or 4-hour, or whatever you can do, and just block out that time to go, this is what I am doing, and it is going to happen. And then you build your habits in your day around, and again, this is kind of a slightly different explanation, but you also need to build your habits in your day around stepping into the version of yourself who you want to be being in your vision of the future. All right, this is Landmark. So we focus a lot on the having, and we'll run this dialogue of, when I have the money, when I have the results, then I'll be happy, then I'll be peaceful, then I'll be secure, then I'll be successful, all this stuff. Doesn't work that way round. You have to become that version of yourself first, then the result comes. You do not get 6-pack abs before becoming the person who goes to the gym, right? You've got to become that person first, who does the work and sees themselves as that committed person, then the result of abs would follow. It's the same in business. So you build your habits in your day in line with what's the ultimate version of yourself who you want to be being. When you have that vision, you just ask, well, what would I be doing if I was being that person? And then your daily habits are to do that thing or those things today, and focus. When you're working on your business, you focus on the highest impact task. If you can get that down and have the discipline and the awareness to recognize when we're not doing that, then that's going to massively serve you with focusing on driving straight force towards your vision.
You've described perfectly what I've been going through those past 2 weeks. There's this task that I it's the one it gives me bellyache, it gives me
Hmm.
nausea, but it's the one that will propel me forward. And oh boy, I've been busy those past 2 weeks. I've done
I bet
more
you
than you
have.
can imagine. And I haven't started that task yet, but I'm really aware. This is like there's two me observing. There's the one that's avoiding the thing that scares her, and there's the other part that's like, come on, girls, you know the drill. Like,
Mm,
that's what you have to do. Just just do 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
yeah.
And that's it. And that's the only way to kind of like suddenly shift. But I really, really love that entering into the skin of that future vision
Mm.
and do it from that perspective. This is incredibly powerful.
May I ask what your task is that you're putting off?
So that's to do with my coaching business.
Oh.
And I'm putting some new coaching packages out. And the task that is really blocking me right now, it's to go and engage uh,
Mm.
with my clients. I mean, I'm telling you, at the moment, it's time to send that message or to pick up my phone,
Hmm.
make a coffee. I need to cuddle with the cat, create a page on my website, all the BS you can imagine, and all the tasks, whether they're related to business or cleaning. Oh, yeah, we'll have them done. And it
Yeah,
arrives at
yeah.
the end of the day, and I've done, but I'm really aware of it. And that when you say that thing that really scares you, it scares you because it's important. It
Mm.
scares you because it's your mission.
Hmm.
It's one of those things in your mission, and this is what's going to get the wheel going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've put into place a few things that now I really won't have a choice, but I think embracing my future self and get her to come and do this with me in a way, like a friend, like a team. Let's do this together,
Yeah.
girl.
Come on, team girls. Yeah.
It's curls and curly. And that would probably add, a, a, for me, that's powerful energy.
Mm,
It goes beyond the practical. That becomes spiritual for me.
definitely.
That's the spiritual you coming, and it's like, you know where we're going, girl. Just just follow my lead. So thank you for sharing this. I love when I learn things on the call like this.
Learning's great, isn't it?
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. Um, yes. I have a passion for this. I have, and I think we all do. Uh,
Yeah.
I think we all do. Um, and this path is definitely, when you choose the entrepreneurship path, you know you're going on for learning, for growth, for challenges, for everything. Sometimes you don't even know how much challenge and how much you're going to experience, but it doesn't matter because at the end, it's so worth it. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
worth it. Like the money becomes so secondary
Yeah,
because
exactly.
yeah, it
Yes,
becomes as sorry, yeah,
that's all
as
right.
as I said, sorry, it's yeah, it becomes bigger than that. It becomes bigger than you. It becomes a spiritual voyage.
Yeah, it's like it's fascinating when you go through the process, and like money, for example, is probably one of the biggest ones because we all have relationships with money, different relationships coming from different places, but essentially, like our relationship with money is based entirely on our past stories, as well, pretty much anything is. But the thing that is incredible to realize is that the stories we'll tell ourselves when we're starting out about why we can't do things or why we can't charge that money or why we're not worth it or anything about the financial side of things, when you get to the other side and you have the money, then you realize that the stories about not having the money were nothing to do with it at all. And like you've then got other stories when you have the money and you're like, this is just another version of the same stories. It was never about the money, it's never about the having. And this whole worth thing, like money, I find money fascinating because all it is a tool. Like, money is just a way to create impact, whether you create positive impact or negative impact. Like, that's down to the person. Personally, I choose positive, but like, it's just a tool. And yet we'll have so many beliefs about money, about like, you know, wealthy people are greedy, or money is the root of all evil, or, you know, whatever. And these come from somewhere, and they sabotage us in business like so easily and so much. And just, again, being able to have that awareness and recognize, do we have a money pattern that's running in the background that is sabotaging our success? Because if there is this belief somewhere that, you know, say we have a belief that wealthy people are greedy, or, you know, that cheat or whatever, like, if that's the belief, and yet we're trying to achieve success in business, and part of that is going to involve becoming wealthy, do you want to see yourself as a greedy person who cheats and lies? Because if that's how we see people with money, well, we're going to self-sabotage, because we don't want to be that person, right? So yeah, it's fascinating when we see it from the other side.
That us talking money it reminds me of a memory, because I had the privilege to witness that moment where everything shifted for you
Yes,
in Toronto.
that's right.
That terrace, that conversation with the wolf, who is our
Yeah,
mentor.
you were standing right next to me at
Oh
the time, weren't you?
my God. I wish I could have filmed that, but I stood there silently the whole time, watching our mentor talking to Dan, and Dan had this massive resistance and that massive fear. All his body was closed, the arm, and he was always saying, yeah, but, and then Justin would be like, yeah, look at it that way, and the gadi gadi, and then Dan would respond, yeah, but no. And Justin will come back with something else, and it was like a tennis match. And suddenly Dan's face went bing.
Yeah.
He had a massive aha moment. I could see the light bulb going on. And from there, you took your success to another level.
Yeah.
This is really a cherished memory for me. I will always remember that. Everything changed.
Wow.
Body language, your facial expression. Really, kudos to Justin, and kudos to you for really taking it in. You resisted at first, and then there's a moment where you stopped resisting and you heard the message you were supposed to hear. And
Yeah.
that is why you're where you are today.
Mm.
I believe. And then all the extra work you've put in there.
Okay.
That's when the rocket took off.
I
Straight
was gonna
up.
say, we can't give all the credit to Wolf.
No, we can't. We can't inflate his ego too much, you know?
Oh no, we don't want that. We don't want that. But no, you're right, and that was literally one of the biggest pivotal moments. And this was September, October, November, December. So we would have been what, 9 months in, about 9 months into my journey, roughly. And the conversation started with Wolf, because I had, in my business, I was getting sort of sales, but I had higher ticket services that I offered. Okay, so I was basically like, I got mid-ticket sales, but I wasn't selling the high level stuff. And my whole mindset was, how can I get people to take the high ticket products? Like, you know, what do I do that's gonna, you know, make them see the value in the product, and then people will take action. And that perspective, like, I'd heard, obviously, you know, you read books and you read about leading with value and so on and so forth, and I'm like, yeah, like, I do valuable stuff, but yeah, but how do I get people to, you know, to take action and buy the high ticket stuff? Yeah, it's valuable, yeah, but I want to get them to do this, right? So the shift throughout that conversation was me letting go of my self-interests, and letting go of just wanting to get the result for myself, and instead just truly surrendering to giving value to others, and just trusting and having faith in the universe, and that it is going to give back everything that you might ever want in return. And as part of this process, it's ongoing. It's a journey. But the point where I'm at now, I realize that when you can truly let go of your own desires or wants in a situation, and you just focus entirely on what does this person need for them to, be, and I focus on being now, not having, but for them to step into being the version of themselves that they want to be. How can I help them move forwards into being the best version of themselves? And when you do that utterly selflessly, and there's this whole dialogue about there's no such thing as selfless, which we could touch on if you like, but when you can do it from a perspective of just taking your needs completely out of the equation, you realize that all the stuff that you thought you wanted or needed, you didn't need anyway, and it was all just a smokescreen and an illusion. It's all a story that we tell ourselves. Money, prime example. I want to get customers to make money. We don't need the money. Money is not where happiness is. Money is not where fulfillment is. So yeah, major shift. It was leading with value. And then, as you say, funnily enough, after that, as soon as I shifted into how can I actually help people, like genuinely help people, expecting nothing in return, revenue went. So yeah, powerful.
Yeah. Surrendering is probably one of the hardest exercise for human beings. It's tough, but it is one ingredient of the secret sauce, definitely.
Kels, what I love about surrender, I've just got to say this, the thing I love about surrendering is you say, well, like, how do you surrender? What do you have to do to surrender? It's like, nothing. Just do nothing. Like, and as human beings, we just create meanings behind everything, and we just trap ourselves into this reality that we create ourselves, and all we need to do is just let it go. And like you say, it's the hardest thing ever to do.
It's the hardest thing. The brain doesn't understand that. The brain is like, but we have to think, we have to understand, we need to know why is the why behind the why and how. And no, you don't need any of that. But it's a process. It's like everything, you growth is you grow by stages. You need to have stage one. You need to do module one of growth first in order to move on. You can't just get to the surrender phase just from the beginning, unless you're really wired differently than the rest of humanity. You have to undo all the crap you've learned until
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, I'm asking you none of the questions that I have. I'm loving this conversation. I love where it goes. I could probably do 100 more episodes with Dan Holloway. There's so many different topics that we could have with him, but I'm going to try and keep my excitement contained.
Oh, Kels, you're fantastic.
Oh God, I'm so glad to have you here. So a lot of the kids that are asked why they want to be entrepreneurs, they always say money, objects. They focus on the having. I loved when you said that earlier, you're focusing on the being. So what for you is a common myth about entrepreneurship, and can you debunk it?
Common myth about entrepreneurship. This is a really good question. So, common myth about entrepreneurship. Should we say entrepreneurship in general, or online business, or
let's go with online business, because this is
online business.
Yeah, let's go with this one.
Okay. All right. So, common myth about online business, I think, is that you have to be, I'll give you a couple. So you have to be a technological wizard to do it, which is absolutely not true. The barrier to entry nowadays is extremely low compared to what it was back when to do a website, you had to be a master coder. Now, to do a website, if you can update your Facebook status and reply to your emails, you will be able to learn how to do a website on WordPress. It's pretty much drag and drop and type and put image there. It's really straightforward. Yeah. Like anything, it's going to take some time to learn. Another common myth of entrepreneurship and online business is that you have to have huge amounts of money to invest to start up, or you've got to have your own product. That's another one. You've got to get your own product manufactured and stuff. Totally not true. So there's various business models, as we know: affiliate marketing, e-commerce. You can leverage other people's products, use drop shipping, Amazon FBA to do all the fulfillment. I'm not going to go into the technical hows and so on and so forth, but I think that if I was to summarize this, I would say for somebody who is in a position where they want to start an online business because they want more from their life, but they have a story or something that is stopping them, like, oh, I can't because I don't have the money, or because I don't have the skills, or I don't have the time, or I'm too old, or whatever. You could go on and on and on. If you have I want to do that, but I can't because, question that because I'm telling you, it's not true. And the way that you know this, it's all crap. Exactly. And the way that we know this is you ask yourself, have other people in the world achieved what I want to achieve despite also having that challenge? And the answer will be yes, because I promise you, you're not the first person who's tried to start a business with no money. You're not the first person who's tried to start a business without being technological. So if other people have done it, you can do it. It's as simple as that. It's like learning to drive. If everyone that wants to learn to drive, and again, I'm talking about disabilities aside or anything like that, like on the whole, like anyone who wants to learn to drive, if they have that desire, they start from zero. Okay, they have no skills whatsoever in driving. You're not born and you're like, yes, I'm a professional race car driver. That doesn't happen. So we all start from zero, and we all learn how to drive. It just takes time. It's just a process that we go through. The only thing that really matters is if you have a big enough reason why, and you know that you want to achieve whatever that is, whatever that being is, you want to be living that life within your lifetime, well, then you kind of have no choice but to go down this path. Because you've got to look at the reality of the situation. The reality is either you just overcome your challenges and do it anyway, or you've just got to accept the fact that you're going to live your whole life never stepping into that version of yourself. And then one day will come, you'll be on your deathbed and you'll look back over your life. And how are you going to look at the fact that you never did it in that moment? And if in that moment you would look at the fact that you never did it and feel deep regret, then you've got no choice. The challenges are the reasons that we're saying why we can't do it. It's crap. Like, it doesn't matter. Let it go, because other people have overcome them. Therefore, you can overcome them. So, whatever the myth is that's holding you back from starting in business, in entrepreneurship, in online business, whatever it is, question it, because it's not truth, and then decide and resolve that you're going to take action and move through it anyway, because just take those steps forwards and you will overcome it.
Yeah. So true. Wow. When I invited you to do the podcast, I asked you if you wanted to focus on a specific topic, because you really master the technical side of things in online business. You really master a few areas in marketing and mindset. And you told me, Curls, and I will let you finish this, I'm really focusing on something specific right now. So let's slowly move into this, because you've already mentioned that a few times in a few of your answers. And I think the audience is getting the fact that, it's not just about the money. So what is it that you're focusing on right now?
Right now, as in vision, mission?
Well, what is it that you're looking for? Vision, I don't know if it would be vision. I think it's more for yourself. I know you said earlier you're focusing on the being rather than the having. What does that mean? That you're focusing on what?
Got it. Okay. So to explain this, I was running a dialogue up before, 3 weeks ago, Landmark, right? I could probably look at my life as pre-Landmark and post-Landmark. But I was running a dialogue in my life, which was when I have X, then I'll be happy, fulfilled, comfortable, etc. Right? And I'd read in enough books and I'd heard enough people talk about being goals. So I was like, okay, being goals are important because it's not about the having. And I recognize that, like, the whole reason that I started online business, and the first thing that I said on this call was about coming from software sales and realizing that more money was not the answer. Like, my happiness wasn't, like, it never made me happy in the past having more money. So why did I think more money would make me happy in the future? And, you know, as well as that, if you look at, do you have more problems or less problems now than when you were 16? And do you have more money or less money now than when you were 16? If you're saying that more money is going to solve your problems, more money equals more problems. And what we're not seeing is that when we solve our current problems with money, new ones that we can't see are going to crop up. Like, my problems now are very different from when I started. So I was running this dialogue of having equals being and learning about being goals. I then started running a dialogue, completely tricked myself, didn't even realize this was happening, of, right, okay, so if I focus on being, and I'm being, if I was someone who was being happy or, you know, being fulfilled, that's going to then result in the havings, but the havings not important. But the dialogue that I would do is, I'll be being this person, which means then by default I'll have this thing, and then I'll get to be really happy. And that was kind of what I was subconsciously saying. I'm like, yeah, focus on the being, because the being equals the having, but the having equals more being, right? It's a little subconscious dialogue. Couldn't even hear it, didn't even know it was happening. And so for myself, like, my focus at the moment, really transitional time, I don't know how this is going to pan out, but surrender, I'm just going with the flow, is that I'm letting go of that, like, truly, because before Landmark, before literally 3 weeks ago, I'd be standing on my balcony over there and I'd be looking out over London. I'd be like, right, why am I here? You know, what's my true purpose? Like, what's my gift to the world? And I'll go down all the stuff that I'm doing in business and all the value that I want to create and help people with. And I've got, like, fingers in a lot of pies. There's a lot of stuff I'm working on, which is really cool. But then I'm like, but why? Like, why is this really going to matter? And I'd ask questions such as, you know, let's say for argument's sake, I managed to help the entire world, like, with our vision, with our company mission. I helped the entire world. Everyone's helped. Then what? Why? Like, what does it really mean? Like, I've done a good thing. What's the meaning? What's the meaning? What's the meaning? And I'd be searching. And again, all of the goals that I'd be setting are for having more revenue, more impact, help more people, more. And I go down this rabbit hole where the more that we do from frantically chasing an unachievable goal. So for me, like, the focus at the moment, I went into Landmark saying, I want to feel happiness and fulfillment, because I wasn't really feeling happy and fulfilled. You know, kind of on paper, I had everything that I wanted when I started this. I've done the traveling thing for 15 months, got a great apartment. Like, I can do and have whatever I want. And I'm still feeling this kind of like this empty feeling. And so I've just been doing this thing over the past 3 weeks, which has been so powerful. And that's just catching any time I have a negative thought. Any negative thought, because the negative thought, whether it's like FOMO, like I'm not doing enough, whether it's guilt, I should be working harder than my team, whether it's scarcity, like I'm investing heavily in marketing at the front end, what if I don't get the revenue at the back end, what am I going to do then, whether it's fear of, again, keep pushing the comfort zones. Any negative thought that surfaces, or negative emotion that surfaces, the reason it's there is because without a shadow of a doubt, I have just compared against something. The comparison is the root of all unhappiness. And that's either a comparison to how I think I should be in the future. It's a comparison to what I had in the past. It's a comparison to what I could have or should have or something, or it's a comparison to what others have. It's a comparison to something that I've made up in my mind, which doesn't even exist. And that comparison is causing me to feel lack, because I'm focusing on the fact that that image has something different to what I have. And therefore I feel that I don't have what they have and I'm not complete. And it's the old pattern. And so all I've been doing just again, and it's almost like, you know, it kind of drives me crazy because I'm like, how often do I do this? I've done like 30 seconds ago, I'll have caught a pattern and then I'm running another one. I'm like, God, calm down, right? But it just keep happening again and again and again. And I've just been catching myself and just bringing myself back into the present moment and just choosing to be happy, because you don't need to have anything to be happy. You can just be happy. And then you can say, well, if I'm being happy, what would I be doing right now? Well, I'm happy. I just do whatever I want. What do I want to do? I just do that. You know, I want to work on something in my business that inspires me. I don't need to attach this big future-paced dialogue of how this is going to pan out, and what if I don't do this, and what if all these people don't get helped, and what if I do this, blah, 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 whatever. Stop trying to figure it out. Just let go and just literally focus on right now the things that inspire me, that move me, that motivate me, that light me up, like the stuff that really creates impact and helps create change in the world. And just, I don't need to be attached to what ifs or buts, all this kind of stuff. I just focus on what lights me up and inspires me and adds value to others. Trust that it's going to pan out all right. And that for me has been so powerful for the last couple of weeks, just present moment.
Wow. Yeah, I need a second here.
I'll take a drink.
Let's have a drink. Yeah. Wow. I am I'm gobsmacked. I will have to digest that. This is exactly what they call the blind spots. We don't realize the amount of stories that are running in the background. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so many of them, we are not aware they're there. They've been there for such a long time, a lot of them since childhood, that they're so part of us that we don't even see or feel them anymore. Even though they're hindering us in a lot of ways, in our relationships, in our businesses, with our relationship with health, or anything like this, we just don't know it's there.
Yeah.
Do we? So sometimes you need that little help, that little outside person, mentor, coach, a program like Landmark to help you see those things, and then you can start working on them, just to bring the awareness, just to like help you turn an eye on on all these pins and needles that you have in the back that are just it's as if there's like a mystery invisible man that is playing like you, as if you were a puppet or a muppet. Is it a puppet or a muppet?
Well, either could work.
A doll with strings. Yeah. No, that's it. I'm going to have to re-listen to this. I think it's freaking amazing. So I'm not going to ask you why happiness and fulfillment is so important to you, because you've perfectly answered to that already. What is the foundation for fulfillment in life then?
God, it's a big question, Carls. What is the foundation for fulfillment in life? Right. So you basically given me like a what is the meaning of life level question. Let's do this. Okay. Can you ask it one more time so I can get it exactly in your words?
What is the foundation for fulfillment in life? Or
cool.
prefer what are the 5 things that help you, build that foundation? What do you need?
Okay. I'm going to go for the foundations of fulfillment. I'm going to take this on. Right. So I think one of the most important things, again, so also everything starts with awareness, right? So if we break this down into a step by, I'm making this up off the top of my head, but we're going to make up a step-by-step process for the foundation of fulfillment. Step 1, awareness. With the more aware we are of everything that's going on within here, the more that we're going to be able to start to not change, because we don't need to change anything about ourselves, but strip back the layers of crap that have been added on throughout our lives. So again, like you said it perfectly, past stories and everything that happens to us, we're not even aware that these programs are running. And so this trigger of like, what am I feeling right now? Do you get in touch with your feelings? What you're doing is you're pulling yourself into the moment to recognize, what am I feeling right now? And if you're feeling feelings that you don't want to feel, then you've got to have the awareness to go, stop. Where's this coming from? What have I just thought that has caused this response, this biochemical response in my body? Because thoughts, like mind and body, interconnected. I'm not going to go into that now, but Dr. Joe Dispenza does a great job of all of that. So have the awareness to recognize when we're out of alignment with who we want to be being. What thoughts are we thinking that are triggering that? Then we've got to be able to look at those thoughts and decide, is that the truth? And is that my past dictating my future? So let's say, for example, we decide, I want to feel fulfilled. I want to be fulfilled. That's the goal that I'm working towards here. Well, is the thought that I've just thought that made me feel lack and fear, does that mean that the thought I'm running is me projecting my past story into the future? And it will be, because if we're running the patterns of our past, we're going to create more of our past. That's why, relationships is a prime one. That's why we can, we'll find ourselves in a relationship with the same sort of person again and again and again, and the same thing keeps happening again and again in relationship, because we're running programs of our past, but we don't even realize we're running it. We're attracting, we're manifesting the same things into our life again and again and again. So fulfillment, you say, what would true fulfillment look like for you? And what we're going to be tempted to do is go to, I'll be on a beautiful beach and a lovely house, and I'll be with my family, and all havings. Every single one of those is having. None of that is going to cause a feeling of fulfillment. What is going to cause a feeling of fulfillment is if we are operating free from our past in the present moment, in line with our values. That is what I believe is the key to fulfillment. Who do you, at your core, who do you truly want to be being? And that is not a filtered version of, but I'd love to be this, but I can't because I don't have the money, or this or that, or whatever story of the past about why we're not worthy. It is if you imagine that you were dropped into the world right now, you've got no past, nothing exists, you've never experienced anything, and you're dropped into the world, and then there's a person in front of you and they say, hey, this is Earth. It's amazing. You can choose and be anything that you want to be. Go and experience life. And then you're free to just be and do and experience anything that you want. Go be free. You'd be like, wow, that sounds incredible. And you go and experience things and you meet people and you're like, hi, I'm like, well, you wouldn't have a name. You wouldn't know who you are because you have no past. But you're just experiencing everything. And it would be like the most exhilarating, exciting, incredible thing ever. And yet the reason we don't have that is because we have the past and we subscribe to the stories of our past. So if you want to feel fulfilled, what I believe it is stripping back all of the past crap and just being totally true to who you want to be in the moment. If you decide, I want to contribute, I want to give back, I want to help people, I want to make the world a better place, the dialogue's then going to go, yeah, but you can't because that crap doesn't exist. That's your past. All right, fulfillment, I get to be whatever and whoever I want to be. I get to do whatever and whoever I get to do whatever I want to do. And if you can operate in line with that and go through this transformational process, which will take time, of stripping back all the stories, that's going to allow you to step into this version of yourself. And it's nothing to do with what you have. It's just who you're being, and your values are at the center of that. For everyone listening, Carl's has just sneezed / having a bit of a coughing fit. I think she's back to life.
I am back to life.
Yes.
Oh my God, I had a frog in my throat. It was just tickling me.
Just tickling away.
Was not able to control it. So, number one, awareness.
Sorry, I forgot about the step process, didn't I?
I love it. You're so passionate about it. And so that would be the first big chunk. Awareness is
of feelings. Yeah.
To get there, number one, willing to be opened, willing to let go, willing to strip, and asking for help, find a mentor, a coach, a community, a place where you can have different perspective and start actually have people that reflect a little bit of your thoughts and your patterns.
You know what, Ashley, you just kind of made me think of something that might be a better way to approach this. So rather than a multi-step process to the foundations of total fulfillment, which is obviously quite a big thing, what you've mentioned there is like what resources can we start to gather, or what steps can we take to put ourselves onto this path, right? To put ourselves into this journey where we're going to start developing ourselves and moving forward. Like you said, mentors, accountability, just surrounding yourself with other people who are on this journey. Start speaking the language and sharing the experiences together. So important and so valuable. And I genuinely think it's one of the most impactful things that we can do is just surround ourselves with people who are starting to think like us, because we automatically become the average of the people that we surround ourselves with. Jim Rohn says it's 5 people. I personally believe it's bigger than that. It's just who you choose as your circle of influence. And with that in mind, if we're surrounding ourselves with people who are either further ahead or have gone through this experience, and again, further ahead is just perspective, but have gone through this experience and can help us understand how to overcome these challenges and get over our own crap, it's going to happen naturally. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And educate yourself. Read, listen to podcasts, watch videos, read blogs, whatever works for you, because there are gems out there that can have you think. Find those tools that make you think and challenge you. So, is there anything that you want to add to this foundation? So, we have the awareness. What else?
Yes. So habits. So if you keep in mind that the only thing that matters is the present moment. Okay, because again, as we touched on during this call, the future that is from the perspective of human experience, and I'm not going to go into quantum stuff on this call, but I love geeking out about the science side as well. But from a human experience, we only have now. That's it. The past only exists in our memory. The future only exists in our imagination. Have you ever been in next Monday?
Nope.
Nope. Now, right?
Just in my head.
Just in your head. Exactly. So that's the key. So if that's the case, if we only ever have now, well, the only thing that matters is what we're doing now and who we're being now. And therefore, the one of the most powerful things that we can focus on in the now is what habits are we building into our lives? Because what the results that we will achieve will be a direct byproduct of what we do in all of our nows consistently. Consistency pays off. You don't get in great shape by going to the gym once a month and doing a 9-hour workout. You'll die. But you get in great shape with consistent workouts, and bit by bit you build up. Consistency that pays. So habits, if you want to build these foundations, you look at, well, again, this vision of myself, who I want to be, what would they be doing? What habits would they have? And who would, in fact, I'm not even going to use the word have, what habits would they incorporate into their daily method of operation? And then you just start doing those habits. And when you start reinforcing and doing those habits, you'll start to cement that version of yourself. And a really cool book on this, because I love books and I love Audible. Where's my phone? There it is. A really cool book is called Mini Habits by, I think his name's Stephen Guise, Guisse, I believe. And it's just such a powerful way to overcome this initial, or this resistance that humans that we have to, like, for example, New Year's resolutions. We're like, I'm going to lose loads of weight and I'm going to do all this stuff and I've got all these goals, but we give up by the 3rd week of January. Right. So mini habits is a really powerful way to start to embed the part of a habit that matters, which is forming the habit. Like, that's the most powerful thing. So yeah, work on those daily habits.
Cool. So awareness, habits. Anything else?
So awareness, habits. And so if we're going awareness of your feelings, awareness of what you're experiencing, and then having the building the habits every day that are going to enable you to keep working on that, and then overcoming fear. So being brave enough to look at, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you've discovered that you're feeling scarcity, like financial scarcity. I'm not worth it. You know, I can't charge that money in my business. And you go, well, that negative feeling, I feel that I'm not worth it, say worthless. And you then have the awareness to stop and go, right, worthless. Where is that coming from? And it's part of one of your habits might be to catch the negative feelings, and you just get in the habit of doing it, right? So you've stopped and you've caught the feeling, and you've asked, where has that come from? What in my past has happened that is making me feel this emotion? And if you can go back, and this again this is an exploratory process, it might not happen instantaneously, so don't then start feeling guilt because you haven't come up with the answer, because that's another pattern, right? But if you can then think, like, what's the first time, the earliest time in my life that I can remember feeling this way? And the closer you can get to the core, like when this actually started, and then face it head on, when you go through the fear, it's going to stop controlling you. And this is easier said than done, much easier said than done. But the only way to unwind this programming is to go through it. We can't unwind it by hiding from it or avoiding it or pretending it doesn't exist or creating stories to justify or whatever. But the only way we can do it is just to take complete responsibility and own it. And a prime example of this is, like, so many of us, like me included, there's been many times in my life, even recently, where I'll show up in life as a victim. And the way that showing up in life as a victim looks is we will blame something or someone else for things that are happening. It's not my fault, it's because of the economy, right? When anything or anyone accepts us as responsible for anything, we are in victim mentality, because we can't control what happens in the world around us. We can't control what people do or what people say, but we can control how we respond to it. So, for example, if we're offended or upset by something that someone's done, well, it's us that's getting offended and upset. And the reason we're getting offended or upset is because we've attached a meaning to the thing that's happened based on our pasts. So we are getting offended at ourselves. That's what's happening. And the reason that we can't overcome that is because we blame something else. And as long as something else is the reason why this is happening in our minds, we are a victim to this. Until this changes, we can't be free of it. But when we take responsibility and go, oh, it's not actually that this person in my past cheated on me. Yeah, that's a bad thing that happened. That happened. Bless you. Like, that's a bad thing that happened, right? I can't change that that's happened, but I can change how I respond to that happening. You know, it doesn't need to mean all the things that I've said it to mean. It doesn't need to mean I'm a victim in the situation. It just means that, you know, what actually happened was that event. And then we can move on from that event when we take responsibility for how we're feeling and how we're responding. So anyway, the point I'm making, if we call this step 3, the point I'm making is to be brave enough to face our own crap and take responsibility. You have to own everything, because until you own everything, you do not have the power to create everything. We'll be limited by what we don't take responsibility for. Okay? Responsibility, step 3, own it, face the fear. Yeah. Crucial.
Yeah, you can't move on otherwise. If
exactly.
That's it. You're stuck. You're just stuck, and you will find a reason for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or you will find a tormentor for everything you can't do. So guys, sorry for my coughing.
You're forgiven.
Yeah, I've been really poorly over the weekend, and I'm recovering in the moments where, well, that's the way it is. It's natural. So
what's wrong with it?
Yeah, nothing's wrong with it. Absolutely nothing. I love that. So there's a few points there. I'll be writing a blog anyway out of this conversation and highlight all these points. But so far we've said awareness, challenge yourself to grow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's happiness is a byproduct of action. take steps towards fulfillment by engaging the never-ending process of self-improvement. Yeah, trying to like summarize that thing, and it's remaining open to new thoughts and ideas, staying hungry for knowledge. It's practicing what you preach, which can be challenging at times, and this is what helps you to become a better person and a better professional, whether it's entrepreneur or even as an employee in a corporate environment. Then we talk about bravery, taking responsibility. We've talked about being in the present. Yeah. Let go of the never-ending self-talk. Take a short break without scrolling through the endless entertainment of your iPhone or even your mind, which is even worse than your iPhone in many ways. So,
Often much worse.
yes, pause and just be present. Yeah, as we said, we're an old computer and we have many programs running. And that whole self-awareness and that whole work is about downloading those new programs, that better version, that got that speed, the power, better colors and all of it. Yeah, it's version 2.0 of yourself. That's what you want.
Yeah.
What did we say as well? There was connecting to something larger than you. Yeah, finding your why.
Yeah.
It's immersing yourself into who you really, 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 really want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, or do you think you've got a good foundation there?
Oh, Carls, I'm sure there's probably about another 9 hours worth of stuff that I could share based on all of the trials and tribulations of the past 3 years.
Absolutely. Plus, we're nearly at the top of the, yeah, we're running a little bit. I know your time is precious and that you're quite busy. Let me just wrap this up, and hopefully you'll accept to come again on this podcast to like.
I would love to, because I'm sure we can expand on this a lot more.
Absolutely. I could talk to you for hours. So yeah, I just have to reframe things a little bit. I always ask this question to every single guest. What is your definition of inspiration? This podcast is about inspiring others. So what is your definition?
My definition of inspiration. So when I think of inspire, funnily enough, particularly quite recently, I don't actually know where it's come from, but like lighting me up, like this whole idea of like lighting me up is alive. That's it. So inspiration is like aliveness. It's just feeling like the fire, like this energy, something that's driving you. Like when you're inspired and you're in that space, it's like flow state. You know, that is I love it. I'm trying again, I love to try and figure out like why this stuff is the way it is and how the universe works and all this kind of stuff, which ironically probably means I'm further away from discovering it because I'm in there. Anyway, the point is that I love looking at things like flow state and how does it work when you get into that space, or how do you get into that space? And I feel like I'm kind of getting closer, but for me, inspiration is a part of that. It's like if you're inspired and you love doing what you do and you're lit up with what you're doing, yeah, that's when you're alive. And again, if the whole thing is about presence and being inspired is really, really, really powerful, to just be alive and living and enjoying every one of your nows that you have.
Thank you for this beautiful definition. Aliveness. Yes. Yes. Well, we have a couple of minutes, and that's a non-negotiable. It's one at a time. So
we have to do the sing song, don't we?
Oh yeah, you have more than I have, but all right. What have you got in store?
Oh, I don't know. You're putting me on the spot now. So I'll give you a choice of two, right? Choice of two. So either I can do Ed Sheeran, You Need Me. I could do a little bit of a rap, which is like my
oh yeah, let's go for that.
Yeah, okay. The other one I was going to say was Lion King because we were singing that in Toronto, weren't we?
Oh my God. Oh, you made it a little bit hard. Just follow your heart. It's your song. It's your choice.
Okay, I'm going to do, I'll do verse 3 of Ed Sheeran's You Need Me. I'm just going to think how verse 3 starts. So with the lyrics, I'll be aiming it right. I won't stop till my name's in lights. The stadium heights, the Damien Rice, the red carpet. Now I'm on Arabian Nights because the young and the brother's gonna give me advice. Long nighter, short height, and I gone hyper. Never be anything but a singer-songwriter. Yet the game's over, but now I'm on a new level. Watch how I step on the track without a loop pedal. People think that I'm bound to blow up. I've done around about 1,000 shows, but I haven't got a house, plus I live on the couch. So you can read the lyrics while I'm singing them out. Wow, from day one I've been prepared. With VO5 wax and my ginger hair. So now I'm back to the sofa, giving a dose of what the future holds, because it's another day. Plus, I keep my last name forever, keep the genre pretty basic. Gonna be breaking into other people's tunes and we chase it and replace it with an elephant in the room with the faces into another rapper. She says new laces. I'm selling CDs from my rucksack, aiming for the major, selling CDs from my rucksack, aiming for the papers nationwide till we just jack. Soon as I get the bus back, a clean cut kid without a razor for a mustache, I hit back. When the pen hurts me, I'm still a choir boy in the Fen church team, just the same as a year ago, but more people hear me though according to the MySpace and YouTube videos. I'm always doing shows. If I'm not, I'm in the studio. Truly broke, never growing up. Call me Rufio. Melody music maker. Reading all the papers. They say I'm up and coming like in an elevator. You need me, man. I don't need you. And that's it. There you go.
That's so freaking brilliant. I forgot to breathe. You were going so quickly.
Breathing is the hard bit of that.
You goofball. I've never heard you rapping. This is a new one for me. So much. I know Dan sounded very serious throughout the interview, but let me tell you, there is another side to him. And hopefully we will be able to show that on a different episode. Dan, I don't have words. I just absolutely adore you. I'm inspired by you, and just thank you. Thank you for being here and for sharing all of that wisdom with the audience.
Thank you very much for having me, Carls. No, it's a pleasure, and I'd love to be back. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.